so we should really get started. Let me know when we're rolling. Oh, that's terrific. This is the More Stories podcast. Pete Turner, United States hero, American spy. I believe he works for us, or
That's
did.
Right. Yeah, I did.
And my man, my motherfucking man, Josh Adam Myers, who's got that awesome podcast about the 5,060
500
greatest vinyl app records.
500 great Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums. We're going through it.
But what's your list, though, man? Fuck Rolling Stone.
My list would.
Hey, what's his list, though, man?
My list would be all like Stone Temple Pilots and Radiohead.
That's unfortunate.
And,
well, now
I mean,
getting better.
Okay, well, Stone Temple Pilots isn't that bad.
Pete, I told you about. I'm almost positive because he has album fights on Twitter, and he actually mails people or emails people scorecards.
And I do a whole podcast with it, too.
I tapped out because some of the results of these fixed fucking fights are so stupid. I'll tell you the ones where I was like, guys. And Pete will go on diatribes like, I don't know, but the bass is so great. Or it was Rio by Duran Duran versus Too Fast for Love by Motley Crue. They're not even in the same fucking planet. Too Fast for Love is amazing. It's a little repetitive because there's too many tracks.
Yeah.
But Rio's a good song. There's another good. There's like maybe you're pushing it with 3 really good songs on Rio. It's a bad
But he's
album.
not telling you this, that you go track for track. So track 1 takes on track 1 from each album, right?
Okay.
I'll play the shit.
Oh, that's
right now. I'll play
great.
it right now into the
That's
mic.
great.
And so if you have a strong song, it's a strong song, or strong and weak, whatever it is. So it all plays out, and you're forced to deal with the reality that.
I love that. I love that idea because
Yeah.
you're finding ways to argue over the smallest things in music, and it's like where mine is like not that at all, but it's like I would love to do that.
We'll do one.
Oh my god!
And then
Pete's got a great podcast. I should have said that earlier. The Break It Down show. And like he had Sly Stone on his 100th episode.
Yeah.
He's all cracked out with
Yeah.
a bunch of chicks in studio.
Sly, we saw Sly, and we wanted to make him comfortable and everything, and take care of him because.
So we sucked his dick.
I mean, that's a way to make
And
somebody
gave him
feel
rock.
at
but
home.
I did go to Randy's and get some donuts, and we got some fried chicken. And because that's what we were told, he likes fried chicken. He likes sweet stuff and fried chicken. So we brought fried chicken up to the hotel room, and we said, "Hey, Sly, we have donuts for you. We have some fried chicken." He's like, "I don't need any fried chicken. I got some in the car." Car fried chicken.
It's like a Ricky Henderson quote.
Yeah, I got some in the car. Yeah,
It's so
all right. Well, there you go.
Check under the seat for the biscuit. Check under the seat.
I saw something roll under that seat, and I knew
Open the glove box. I got honey mustard. Got ranch.
this is not a full portion. Let me tell you something. Pete's podcast, to Break It Down, show is a lot of fun. Your podcast, I had so much fun on, but also like Josh Adam Myers, you're one of those cats. You've never been on the podcast. It boggles my mind. And you and I like met at your apartment.
Well, we had actually met.
I mean,
we had
like,
met at one of
know.
your shows, but there was what I love about
Hold
my.
on. I tried to cover. I was completely wrong. I go, you know what I mean? No, I'm wrong. I was about to go, you know what I mean, Matt.
But no, but I know I understand what you're saying though. No.
I was
I
wrong.
completely
No,
no.
I'm
You're
lying.
wrong. You're wrong. But I'll put an amendment in there. Is that there is something about my podcast? It's not an argument. It's literally where I ask the guests to listen to the album, or to if it's an album that they've like experienced their whole life and they love and it's a part of them. And then what I do is I use the album as a way to interview the guests. So whatever the song meanings, the facts, all that shit. So there's like a way of connection with people. That because we're asking questions, whatever the song or the album's like meanings are, it's like I'm asking them, have you ever experienced that? And so I'm finding there's people that I've known for years, and we'd always say, well, we're friends, but it's like not until they do that podcast. That's why I love it more than anything. It's giving me real
Not until they do the
human
podcast,
connection.
What? Finish that, because that's really cool what you're about to say. Not until they do that podcast.
Well, I think in this business we're meeting people that it's just like we see them so much, we're like, oh well, we're friends. But there's there's something about really sitting down and talking to somebody and looking them in the eyes and listening and just being there and being present and I had met you a million times and we had shot the shit real quick and that was it. But when we did Bruce Springsteen Tunnel of Love.
Sure.
And it's just there's so much that
It's a tough one too. It's not the top of the batting order by any stretch.
No, it was actually what's funny was when because before I realized somebody said that you were a huge fan of Bruce Springsteen. Somebody else had said Greg Fitzsimmons, and I reached out to Greg Fitzsimmons, and he goes, "It's Bruce, 100%. I'll do it. What album?" And I go, "Tunnel of Love." He's like, "No, I'm not doing that one, dude." He's like, but I get it, because it's not Born to Run.
Yeah.
It's not The Rising.
Right.
It's not some of these other albums, but I think it was the perfect album for you, for at least where you were at that time.
It made me work because I didn't want to be caught short. That's like my biggest fear since like I knew what girls were. Like, hey, they're over there talking about jazz. I better get hip. Or like, who's this Capote they speak of? Yeah. So I really kind of dove into it, and I knew I didn't love the album. I knew I loved the song Tunnel of Love. I knew I loved. There was two you and I fell in love with. I forget.
Tougher Than the Rest is the one. Like, I wept listening to that, because it's just, I felt every lyric. I felt something about Bruce that we talked about on the podcast is Bruce is the king of the bridge. His verse chorus is great, but his bridges are like, well, it's a long cold road on the dog.
Joints on Valentino Drive.
All of his bridges are fantastic, And so when we got to sit down, this is before there was a producer there, so it was just me and Jay, and we just shot the shit for like, I always say, all right, well, it's going to take at least an hour and a half. I think we talked for like 2.5, 3 hours. It was but it's beautiful, man, and the fans went crazy for it.
Music though, and that's I don't think you get that. Like, look, man, I love you straight up.
I love you too.
And I know it, and you know it, and that's. It was in that podcast. It's something about music, like
it brings us together.
Like Huxley, The Doors of Perception. There's like a trap door to that part of your heart that you don't really get to share with anybody. Not like you don't want to, or like it's kind of like gay or like no. It's just you never talk that deeply with like your buddies.
Yeah.
Unless somebody dies or something, you're hugging, or you're on Molly at the Limelight hugging, rubbing a suede coat. But we're talking about songs that fucked us up.
Yeah.
And like Pete, we go through the whole album. He plays clips, and I can't stop talking.
Yeah,
he's excited. He's got a great Doberman named Jambi from.
No, it's Lekka, but you're close.
Jambi was the genie from
yeah.
Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Lekka said,
Lekka. Beautiful fawn Dobie. Like it was like. There goes my phone off. Jeez, that's quite an erection. I'm moving things. It's apportation, is what they call it in the paranormal world.
That's why I wanted you over for the Tunnel of Love.
It was good, but the thing was, the last track was Brilliant Disguise, and we'd been at it for like 2 hours, and then we got to Brilliant Disguise, and I had a little anxiety, like, man, this fucking taking forever. It's not our fault. It's Bruce's fucking, Tolstoy in the studio. We got to Brilliant Disguise, and it was like an entirely different show. Like, that was the bottom of the funnel of what the fuck the entire album was about. And I got a crazy-ass sense of the import of... I've always been obsessed with you, too, like the track listings and order and set list.
It makes a difference.
For fucking Brilliant Disguise to close that album is like the biggest ellipses ever.
Yeah.
Like planets. Boom, dot, dot, dot. God have mercy on the man who doubts what he's sure of. Good night. We're out. You're like, hey, you're leaving?
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
It was one of those albums that, I've always, because the reason I'm doing it, Pete, is not because I know these records. Like, I for real, like people look at me and assume I know everything about music, because everything I do is either based in music or comedy, and I found ways to combine them.
He was a DJ in a strip club. Let's
go
back to his
but
musical roots.
that's true. And I was the greatest strip club DJ.
He played
in
Man
history.
in the Box by Alice in Chains, not just Rooster.
Dude, I used to play a lot of Rat. I had like a hip hop club. Like, this was not. There's drug dealers there.
I just did 8 minutes about Rat.
Did you really?
I made up some story of being at Eddie's. We're at the Improv.
You ski, you gotta lay it down. That was like my fucking. Lay it down. That was my like 2-for-1 song. It's like, all right, y'all, we're doing a 2-for-1. You ski, but double, lay it down, lay it. But
whoa, you went to the Brian Kelly keyboard for Bon Jovi right there. I saw the hand.
Well, that was me DJing, like bringing the volume down, be like, all right,
when a guy gets thrown out. Smooth, way cool. Fuck, I stink.
But there's something
Way
like
Cool Jr. I was going to sing
to go off what he's saying
Way
about
Cool Jr.
music. Say what?
How's Way Cool Jr. go? And then I'll shut up.
What is Way Cool Jr.? Is that by
like
Rat? Dude, but that's the thing is that
right.
I don't. No.
Corey, did you
So-
edit me out of
No.
my show? 'Cause
He's
I-
doing great.
No,
So
thank you.
all right. So like the long and short story is, I had a friend, the friend I was telling you about that had passed away, and my friend knew everything about music and always read Rolling Stone, and he said to me, you know, he'd be like, he's like, how do you?
He was nothing
how-
like us.
How do you not know ELO? And I'm like, well, I
Right.
know a couple songs, and he's like,
Yeah.
how do you not know this album? And I was just like, I just never listened to it. So years after he died, I went through an existential crisis, and I was like, I want to feel something every day, and I want to experience the great shit that's out there that I've yet to experience. And musically, I was tapped out. I was listening to Stone Temple Pilots and Radiohead and the Beatles and maybe Wu-Tang and just whatever I listened to in college, and some other bands that made their way into it over the time between then and now. And then I was like, you know what? We always used to talk about that list. I'm going to listen to an album a day. And I started posting about it, starting at 500, working my way down. And when I got to like Stone Roses, a comedian reached out and was like, that's my favorite album ever. Oh my God, it reminds me of this, this, and this.
Is he dead now too? I hope.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh no, really?
It was George Burns, dude. George Burns reached out to me, and you know, he's gone. I don't know if you know that. Did I just break that to you?
I need a pen.
He's so into the Stone Roses.
I need a pen and a piece of paper because I can circle back. Dude, I think.
Thank you.
Hilarious.
But that's the thing, and I think you know, I don't know you,
Yeah.
but I mean, you might be an insane music fan and encyclopedia over your years, but like most people, and this is what I love more than anything, is that a lot of people are like me, and I'm opening them up to new music. 'Cause that was all I wanted.
Same thing with the album fight concept. Is like, so we put Redheaded Stranger up against the Pretenders. And you're like, those don't go together. Well, they do, because we made the tracks match up, and now you've got these two master bands going at it, and you're forced to reckon with how they do what they do, and you have to be in the music enough to have something to say about it.
Yeah.
So tracks you might skip otherwise. That's all we do is skip tracks, and we listen. Like the music is more of a background, but not when we're doing what you and I do, where you really have to get in. And
Oh, I love it,
You're
though.
reading the lyrics, and
Dude,
yeah.
I'm getting ready to record Nirvana in Utero, and that's an album that is so.
Oh, who do you got?
I have Jeff Dye, because he's from Seattle, and
He's a good guy, Jeff.
He's a great
I like
guy.
Jeff.
He's a great guy. We were trying to get Steve Albini. And that's the cool thing, is that we're now getting people that are, you know, when I did the Pogues, I had James Fernley, who is the
great.
founding member of
Yeah.
the Pogues. And then when I did Devo, we had a big comedian actor
black guy
drop
from
out.
Fridays.
And we
Devo.
had the guy that played Pinky on Friday After Next. No, the actor drops out. And then we got Josh Freese, who is the drummer for Devo.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's opening it up right now to like, is it comics? Is it actors? Is it musicians? Is it people of influence? But it doesn't make a difference who they are, as long as they have this connection to the record.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes we get stuck with a record where you're like, I have no fucking idea.
You had a tough patch just now because I asked to come back on the podcast and you sent me the list of the next 25.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, dude, you'd be surprised. It was hard to book in Utero. And I still like we have asks out, but for fucking
if you don't text me, it's really hard. Yeah.
well, no, it's well, you just did it. I need to give you some time. I want your life to
Fucking
to
lower your
build.
voice and wave your hands around.
I'm
Relax.
sorry, I don't mean to yell at you.
Fuck
That's
is
my
this
it's
guy?
my mom inside of me. She's speaking. But like, you know, we have George Harrison coming out, and I thought that would just be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
George Harrison, All Things Must Pass, and it's fucking difficult, man.
He's dead, too.
He what?
Yes.
What?
Can I commit blasphemy? I guess here.
Go ahead.
I love the Beatles. You know that.
Sure,
I think,
yeah.
I think they're actually
Don't say
criminally
it.
underrated.
Okay. What's the blast?
Fucking George Harrison stinks.
Oh!
I'm going to second that.
Oh, yeah! Pete second, not
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's my time,
Well,
everybody.
after that first album,
It's
he
all
just
like whiny fucking. I'm almost.
I think there's a. I
and
think,
it was all hook driven, just hook. And it's like, get the fucking
Get
a
your
different
sitar.
hook.
I think-
bring Yoko back.
Yeah.
I get it,
I didn't
because
mean
there
that.
is
I
there
didn't
is
mean
a
that.
real
That was
there
out
is
of
there is a real like pain when you're dealing with John Lennon,
Yeah.
and there's a real happiness when you're dealing with Paul McCartney. But I think there's a spirituality that is found in George Harrison that is not in the
Hey,
the
I'm all
rest
for
of the Beatles.
spirituality. Just get more than one hook. Don't just repeat
Look,
the same
let me.
hook over
I
and
got to
over and over and over
quantify
and
my
over.
statement. By the way,
Hit me.
there's no doubt George Harrison is the coolest fucking Beatle. I'm not
Okay.
saying that.
You just don't like his music.
He's the motherfucking man. When he was doing, why am I talking like? I don't know who that was just now. It sounded exactly like somebody. I'm trying to figure it out. when George Harrison was being interviewed when the Beatles went to visit Elvis, and Elvis was in his bedroom, whacked out on pills, and he would just watch who came over on satellite TV in his house. That was like entertaining for him. So the Memphis Mafia was all fucked up on speed, and the Beatles just wanted to smoke grass, and they're all like, "It was great, man. It was great." And he cut to George, and he goes, "I just wanted to smoke reefers. All they had was speed. They were all speeding about. I just wanted reefers." And in this document, I forget what it was, but every time they go back to George Harrison, he goes, "None of them had reefers." It's like all he fucking said. He had a miserable time because he couldn't get a
They were
joint.
all cadoogly spoogly, and I wanted to be all chilly willy. You know what I mean?
You said something interesting. You feel the pain with John Lennon.
Yeah.
You feel the joy with Paul McCartney. Why? When you listen to John, I don't have that experience, so that's what I love about this discussion.
Okay.
Do you feel not because of his death? Is the music independent of his?
I think that the whole story that he was raised by his aunt and never knew his mother, and the guy had a lot of problems, a lot of emotional problems, and
what if he was an asshole?
Well, that's the thing, is that he was an asshole because of a lot of the shit that he had been through.
It's not my band anymore. We can't deal with him.
Well, he's dead. You know that, right?
Another dead guy.
But I think there's
You know what? You're a fucking jinx. Oh, you bring it up.
I'm just killing everybody.
You know, my friends, like dead people in you is like vegans and gluten and like atheists. Like they lead.
I'm going to a Lakers game tomorrow night. Should I not?
Yeah, you're pretty dangerous.
Yeah, man. Watch it. You want to come with me Friday? Let me know. But what pain do you feel with John Lennon?
I just think in especially as he started to evolve in the Beatles and the Beatles started changing, there was like a sadness in a lot of his music, and especially in his solo shit. I mean, it wasn't until Double Fantasy, which is one of the few Beatles records I've listened to all the way through. I have listened to Mind Games, but Mind Games has this. It just doesn't.
Like
It's very
80s movies with like.
I know
like at a carnival.
When I listened to The Last Starfighter and then Labyrinth,
Yes.
I mean, by
All
John
things must
Lennon.
pass. Next.
What keeps falling?
Everybody's dropping their phones. They're getting boners.
Here you go, Corey.
You're doing great.
Corey, you got money. You got money pulling out of your back right pocket.
But just like Paul McCartney has this positivity that I think just everything about him. When I met him, it was like you were touching like a guru. Like he was.
Hold on. You are touching a guru. He's a lama. He's fucking. He's a Buddhist koan.
Yeah, and you feel that. You feel that. But with John, I just everything about his life is like
Could
is
he
really
be successful today, or the fact that like he'd like to hit his John Lennon or like his timbre?
well one if the Beatles
right
came
in.
out today, the Beatles would not be popular at all. They wouldn't
Right.
be nearly because it's all because you got to take the looks. You got to put looks.
no.
Looks is a huge factor now with music.
Nobody would be popular today because nobody could conceptualize the jump from analog to digital to digital. Like
Sure.
nobody. Like
No.
Jimmy Page would be sitting around like.
I think but I think a band like Led Zeppelin, if they came
Great
out now,
punchline, JJ. Like a bum.
I think like a band like Led Zeppelin could come out and rock the way they do, and
Right.
actually, I think they could. I think the Beatles would be
How
like.
would you hear them?
Well, no, they would listen. If there's a band like what's that band that everybody says an imitation of them? The one they do that song, it's like "Shaka Daka Moonlight, down and the girl and get you so hot." You got my bright light.
Is that my Uber right now? Is that who's here? What the fuck? I don't know what song that is at all. I feel embarrassed.
It's what is it called? They're fucking.
Everybody
They do
says-
that song called Highway Road or something. Everybody says they're ripping off the Led Zeppelins. I don't know why I called
Wolf Mother?
them.
Wolf
Not
Mother.
Wolf Mother. No, Wolf
That's
Mother is
one
more
dude.
Black Sabbath.
No, he's not even.
I'll tell you right now.
I'll tell you
that
with
guy
me.
was not a shining light.
You with me? Like,
Yeah.
nah, he ain't no Sabbath.
Really? You don't think so? Greta Van Fleet is the
Greta
band.
Van Fleet. Okay, yeah.
I mean, it shows how popular they got.
I didn't mean
Hold
like
on.
their sound.
No, you
though.
couldn't know even who they were, and it was your story. How popular are they?
Well, that's the thing is that I'm wrapped up right now in fucking. I'm
Boz
listening to
Scaggs,
Devo.
Boz
I'm listening.
Scaggs.
I don't have time, dude. I just did Boz Scaggs.
Wait,
I did that
spit
record.
all the way across
Dude,
the table,
Dude, I'm telling to all the fans out there, listen to Boz Scaggs, "Loan Me a Dime." It's got a 9-minute guitar solo from
great.
Dwayne Allman.
Oh, great.
All right,
Hey, Dwayne Allman's incredible. I mean,
sounds
it was
about right.
another dead guy.
By the way,
that one's not my fault.
a 9. Well, we'll know Tuesday after the trial. A 9 minute Dwayne Allman guitar solo.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
It's good. It's
Dickie
really
Betts.
good.
I'm good for 29 minutes. You like Dickie Betts better than Allman?
Who would remind me who Dickie Betts is?
All right. You know what?
Dude, that's why I'm doing the podcast,
You're gonna
dude.
break people's
I know the
fucking
name
balls.
sounds popular. I know I've heard that name.
Saying a fucking Australian guy sounds like Sabbath. You're being disrespectful. Get fucking blood on the floor.
Is he in Black Sabbath?
Hold on. Boz Scaggs.
Yes.
Lend me $1. What is it?
Loan me a dime.
What did I say?
Somebody loan me a dime. It's so
What you
good.
just sang right now immediately got my attention as good. By the way, I don't know what the song is.
Love it. You
But
would,
like it.
honestly, Jay, you would
You're
love
like,
it.
I'm in a band. We go like this. Do it again.
It's like somebody loan me a dime. Something like
like-
that. It's really good.
Josh Adam.
Sign that guy.
Thank
My
you very
motherfucking
much.
man.
Thank you.
Tell him,
Thank you,
dude.
buddy.
He's fucking Griffin.
I'll be performing at the Baked Potato on Tuesday night. No, I'm not.
Oh, that'd be great. He's Griffin. Senior.
Yeah.
He's Griffey Senior, bro.
Senior.
All right. So, Boz Scaggs.
We had Don Randy on our show, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Wonderful. Don Randy. He owns the baked potato.
Does he really?
Yeah.
How did I get squashed out of my own show?
I'm just throwing you
Talking
through the
about
baked
music.
potato.
We're
out
talking
there.
about fucking baked potato club owners. It seats 40 people.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Randy? Don Randy?
Hi, Randy. Don Randy.
He's from the Wrecking Crew. All
It
those
is-
guys that
Oh, really?
record all that. Yeah, he's legit.
By the way,
Legend.
like, there's really no cooler place.
Then the Baked Potato?
None.
I've never actually been in there.
It's the size of this room.
Really?
There are 4 of these rooms, and anyway. So with John Lennon, you feel the sadness because you feel like you personally, does it vibrate maybe in something in you that you identify with?
I think there is. I think there is. You know, there
you
was
had a
a
mom
there was
growing
a. Well, I did have a mom and a very loving mom. I had a dad that was, you know, I was always like compared to my sister, who my sister is now a doctor, married to a lawyer, and has 3 kids, and is just like
But is she happy? Come on.
very happy. She really is. She's a great person. Went to Israel to teach kids how to
Right,
speak
you know,
English.
she fucking show off. That's what
She's
she is.
yeah. I mean, it's like, and then you have me at 15, you know, taking LSD, running 3 miles, half naked,
That's
and
my
getting to
son.
my parents'
That's
house
my
at
guy.
6 a.m. and reenacting my own childbirth in front of my whole family. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's like a difference between the two of us.
That's not a good journey, man. That's a bad trip.
And for years there was a sadness, a real melancholy. Like me and my dog are so similar because we're both like the Smashing Pumpkins in like 1996. You know what I mean? When that B-sides album came out and they
Yeah.
did Landslide,
a little
like
adrift.
just like a little, just there's a sadness.
Liminal time.
There's a real sadness. Like we understand that life is short,
Yeah.
and yet we
Why's
still
your dog
couldn't
got
enjoy it.
sadness?
My
Fucking-
dog has this.
She's got you as an owner.
She is that whatever that fucking B-sides record by Smashing Pumpkins is. That is my fucking dog, dude. Dude, she is like, she's Billy Corgan. She's just like, you know, let me say, let me down. That's my dog. No, not even that. Not even like, not even fucking like, not even like, the sun on my range, I am still, not even that. It's just very
good
like,
tune. You
and
too, I
we
saw
don't need that. That's my dog. She's great.
Oh, it's
It's
like a nasal Coldplay.
And was that your dog's last good idea too?
What? Oh, fucking that album?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Hold on a second. That's not a comedian. That's
pretty good.
That's a career army man. That just fucking curb stomped us. Our only income in the last fucking 50 years combined is doing what he did. And we're just
and this-
standing here holding our dicks at Lilith Fair, hoping for something else to come
Hilarious. Nice Lilith Fair reference.
I was all right.
good.
George Harrison, coolest Beatle, best Beatle, most talented Beatle. Come on.
Rank your Beatles. Rank your Beatles.
It's insulting to Paul to even fucking have this conversation.
I don't know, man.
fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. I
the
think
fuck are you talking
John. I think John. It goes John, Paul, George, and
As
then
far as who is
and
the
then-
best to the Beatles?
I just
Like
think
the MVP?
I think the MVP. There's a fun game that a friend of mine, a big rock star, plays, which is like you name
Who's
a
the friend-
band.
What's the big rock star's name?
Tom Morello. From Rage Against the
guy.
Machine. Great guy, dude.
He's gonna make it.
I hope so.
do
No,
it,
I mean
yeah.
the lump. He's all right.
Did I kill him too? There's a game
Yeah,
that
it's
there's
a waiting game.
There's a game that he
Why am I talking like
plays.
Colin the whole podcast?
There's a
Sorry.
game that he plays where it's like you name a band and you pick the MVP
Okay.
and the weakest link.
All right.
Can I put an addendum on the table for this game?
Hit
Because I
me.
have a separate one. Every band has a love affair. I don't mean they have sex. like it was Pete Townsend and Keith Moon were fucking madly in love with each other. Like every concert, you just see those two connected. You know what I mean? Like not
Sure. No, I believe that. Yeah.
In U2, it's just everybody in Larry Mullen Jr. Like they just fucking for whatever reason they're just like he's the god of the band.
He's the guy, yeah.
Yeah. So who's the I would like to hypothesize who the love affair would be
Between
and whatever band.
Well, I know. I think it's very easy. I think it's Paul and John. I mean, it has
Absolutely.
to be. It has to be because
There's a lot of
they.
ones.
You could even see it in just some of the songs that they wrote.
If those two guys aren't in the band, there's no band.
Yeah, completely.
Oh, I don't know, Pete.
Yeah.
Fucking bold statement you made.
Well,
you know what? If there was no oxygen, we wouldn't be able to breathe.
But, I mean, it's.
Wait, if Paul McCartney.
But if you're going to pick the
I'm
MVP,
throwing a challenge.
My
for
feet
that
were
guy.
gone. I'd crawl.
Let me tell you something. If John Lennon and Paul McCartney weren't in the Beatles, how good do you think they'd be? I bet they wouldn't even be as good.
but they can't both be MVP though. So who's the MVP?
It's not even close. Paul's 80% of the catalog.
I mean, I agree with you.
Well then, all right. Why am I yelling at you?
And then who's underrated? Then is it George?
Well, not underrated. It's not underrated. Who's
Paul's
the
underrated.
weakest link?
Weakest link.
Hold
Okay.
on, let's do underrated too. It's Paul, lefty bass man.
I don't know if I call Paul underrated.
Never give me your
Money. Oh,
The fucking thing. I don't know how it held
great
together.
bass player, great songwriter, and that is the reason that the Beatles kicked out so many albums that Paul just constantly wrote and constantly wrote.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why there was they dissolved because I think John eventually just got, he had his problems and he
Addicted
wasn't
to LSD and in love with a fucking lunatic that was a narcissist. Let's not give people shit that we don't know what they're thinking. Like, he was really troubled in this. He was in the Beatles like the other three. One of them, fucking George, goes to Madarashi Recce and gets enlightened over and over and over again. Ringo's got more hit records than all of them combined, and nobody can name two.
I think isn't that true? That is true. That Ringo actually.
Pool 8 is one of them.
I love you, but
That's just one of
I
them.
like it. I think that is true. Like, I would just said a lie and just put it on the table as bullshit.
No, I'm
Ringo's
not
got
saying
them all.
I'm not saying it's a lie. It's just it's one of those
The
shocking
weak link in the
things.
Beatles.
Is
Fuck, man. Has there been a band where there isn't one? Or does Tom Morello say there has to be one?
so you have to pick one. You have to pick your MVP. You have to pick the weakest link.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it's a stumper. I mean, I guess
Everyone's going Ringo, and
What-
that's what the greaseballs in Vegas at the sports book. They want you to go to Ringo.
Yeah.
Because that's the king of
So
swing.
you'd pick George. That's what you're saying, right?
He's so fucking filthy in those fills.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
he
Ringo.
paid more.
It's Ringo.
It is Ringo.
I think it is
and,
Ringo,
and I hate
yeah.
to say it.
I'll
'cause
tell
he's
you
the king of
because
swing.
this is why. Because you can swap him with a lot of people, and it wouldn't make a
What
difference.
about Bill
in the band.
Burr? That's a
You could
fucking Beatle right there.
You could put Bill Burr in there, I guess. If you
Fuck
could play
yeah,
drums
you
a
could.
little bit.
Bill could play Beatles
Yeah.
songs.
Bill can smash.
Yeah, he's.
But
great.
you couldn't do what George did for those songs because he brought his own. Look, this
You know
is
why
obviously-
I can't have George be the weak link? Is just for Taxman 1, 2, 3, 4.
Bro,
Bro, that could be in Austin Powers
yeah.
as like a We're Shagging Dancing song.
Yeah.
That could be in Scorsese movie as a guy's like overdosing, like the career politician's fucking taking his last.
Or them even like them beating somebody in a Scorsese film.
Right.
Yeah, it's
It predates everything we've heard. Like, it's not Chuck Berry. It's not Willie Dixon.
Yeah.
It's not Robert Johnson. Like, The Who was all like flamenco, like bring, da da da, all threes and shit. It's that nugget of George, whatever he did. It's him.
Yeah.
There's no fucking influence. Or he hides it, except, of course, there is, but he hides it. It doesn't sound like fucking Chuck, like Chuck Berry music.
well. You're a Radiohead fan, right?
Virgo Leo, cusp.
Yeah,
I like Radiohead.
you-
What do you mean? I just texted you like my love affair with
What?
Planet Telex. If I could sing one song live,
Okay, so then who's your MVP and then who's your weakest link?
nobody gives a shit about the bald bassist guy.
He's not bald. No, Phil. That you're thinking.
Oh,
You're thinking.
he's the other
You're thinking of
guitarist.
Colin, the drummer.
I mean the. Oh yeah.
Who's your MVP?
I mean, I want to say Johnny Greenwood, but he stopped playing guitar and started sticking his dick in computers the last fucking 20 years. So who knows? So I got Tom York's like the vision is so narrow. He's like Doug Lyman. Like, it's just
It's
he's
hard.
such a like, what he writes isn't normal. It's
But
not.
I disagree with you. I think it's Johnny.
I mean, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's
but I haven't
just-
seen him play guitar in 20 years. I got to talk to him. You know what, Johnny? If you have time to lean, you have time to clean, honey. Johnny, to me, is the guy. I just want to hear more. It's not what we're discussing here. The weak link is, who knows?
I think
We would never know the weak link because they protect them so much. So this is a really fun game. I'd love to play this with Morello.
Oh, it was fun. It was definitely fun. We only got through one band. That was
What
it.
band was it? His?
No. What were we talking
Only have
about?
two guys in it.
What were we talking about? We were talking about.
Name two, you know?
We were talking about. I think it was. We just talked about Tool, and that was as far as we got. Because then we just something happened, but I just loved that game.
It's just Maynard, and he hired. How do you do that? That's like saying doing
That's
Queens
like
of
the
the
weak
Stone
link in
Age.
Prince's band is not
Or like
Prince,
Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Those guys.
Or Wolf Mother's just Andrew, whatever his name is, Ridley. No. So I don't know
Who?
he hires out bands to travel.
There's only 3 members of Wolf Mother, right?
No, it's a guy, Andrew Stockdale.
Yeah, they might
That's
stand
great.
next to him, but it's him.
Right. Same as like Dinosaur Jr. hires people to go on the road. You know, like
I saw
Queens
Wolf
of the
Mother,
Stone
that's-
Age as Mark Lanigan for doing like 3 songs on tour. Like he's on a full tour. He does 3 songs. Like I'd go fucking batshit. I'm the 4th banana. But those songs. Anyway, so what the fuck are we talking? Oh, the weak link of Radiohead is I don't. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who fucking knows? Whoever tells them.
You got to pick one. That's the thing.
All right, I'll pick Selway. But I really like his drummer.
The guy
give me
that does
rhythm
marketing
guitarist.
for
the
him.
Chinese brother is the bassist.
Who? Ed?
Who's that? The bald guy?
Ed's the.
Is that Johnny's brother?
No, I don't think that there's not brothers. It's there's not brothers in the band, but they're the rhythm guitarist.
I like
that guy,
Ed, but I really like him. But you gotta
But
go.
yeah,
I
I think the bassist because you can hear it in like Nude where it's like
National
boom,
Anthem?
boom, yeah, doon 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 doon
St.
doon
Paul and the
doon
Broken
doon.
Bones covered that when I saw them.
Yeah, they're so
And
good.
I was sitting there high, and I'm like, how the fuck do I know this song? And these guys just and I hear everyone around. And I was like, get the fuck out of here, because I never heard a Radiohead song played by a southern, like, Mississippi white suit wearing blues man, like revival Pentecostal guy. He's like a short fat guy. St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
Yeah.
You know them at all?
I
send
know
them.
one song by them.
Fucking amazing. And they did that fucking cover, and I lost my shit.
I played one of their songs at the strip club.
Rolling Stones.
I swear to God.
Rolling Stones. I mean, it's Keith, right? The MVP.
Oh, but there's Mick. That's the thing. Is
What's
like
he play though?
it's just his
plays
voice
the
and
crowd.
he plays the crowd. I mean,
We're talking about Keith Richards, huh?
I know that, but
It's hard. It's hard. It's really hard.
Who's your MVP of the Rolling Stones? Corey Fry. Hush, hush, you are Corey. Rap, rap, rap. Who's your MVP of the Rolling Stones?
I think
Hey,
it's Mick too.
I'm not a list bully anymore, so I mean, I love him. You know, but it's Keith's band.
yeah.
I sent you that song, "Let's Go Steady" one more time.
Oh, it's so good.
Never released. If that
You know
song-
what? You're right. It is Keith. Sorry, I had to go back
It is
in
Keith.
time.
Keith is
Because
the-
Chris Thomas King, we was talking about the origin of the blues in New
Is that a
Orleans.
black high school? What'd you say?
Chris Thomas King.
Did you say Ronald McNair Elementary School? What
He's
was
a-
that?
Is that where they did Hoop Dreams?
No, he's a
Doesn't it
blues,
sound like a
he's a
black-
blues.
Did you say Lewis Gossett Junior Secondary School?
He's a blues musician. He was the guy at the crossroads in "Oh Brother Where Art Thou."
Okay.
Okay, so and this guy knows the blues, and he said that, and I told you this because we were in New Orleans at the same time. Keith Richards is the pimp, and Mick is the whore.
Oh, I don't know you said that.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you. We're done. I didn't say it. Chris did though. Chris gets the credit.
Like, Christ the King, high school.
Yeah,
Keith Richards is the pimp. Mick Jagger's the whore.
that's right.
Go out there and make my fucking money,
Exactly.
bitch.
Go out there and shake that thing.
And when Keith does his shit, Mick gets in on his mic.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're not more visceral reactor.
This is in. Would you say the Blues Brothers?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd. Also, Spies
Oh
Like
Brother
Us.
Where Art Thou he's a
Oh, okay.
He is
He said in the Rolling Stones. I don't know how this got complicated. I do actually. In the Rolling Stones, Keith Richards is the pimp. Mick Jagger is the whore.
In like not really
In
in
the
the
Rolling
in,
Stones.
oh in
That's
the
their
Rolling
role.
Stones. Oh, okay,
That's
all
the
right,
role
yeah.
they play. Yeah.
He's smoking bombing fluid.
Yeah. That's why Keith is the MVP.
Right. He writes all the hook. You want to talk about hook? What the fuck is the matter with you? You want to talk about hooks? George fucking Harrison, Guru Man hooks versus fucking Keith's hooks?
Well, I mean, they're totally different though. Like, dude, George,
One of them's Keith
but George, okay,
One
but
of
George,
them have a fucking guitar tree in his yard and be buried under it.
See,
He'll
I
be
haven't
fucking shot out of a
listened.
cannon
I haven't
somebody's
listened to
ass.
enough Rolling Stones to really like. I've listened to like Exile on Main Street and then the hits.
Yeah.
Can I tell right now? So you admit your opinion means nothing.
As far as this, yes.
You don't know
As
a
far as
goddamn thing.
As far as about the Rolling Stones, I don't know enough. I know their greatest hit CD, and
That's
I know
okay,
Exile
brother.
on Main Street.
It's crazy how ubiquitous they can be, but yet like unknown in a lot of ways. You know, because they've written hundreds of songs now, and it's easy to not know their catalog because they've just always been there. And you're going to know Satisfaction and Sympathy for the Devil, and you're going to run out of ideas. But there's hundreds of songs after that.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
I mean, we broke down a Springsteen album, so like,
Yeah.
yeah, we get it. Like when I was talking to Paul Toogood, the director, we were talking about Springsteen, and at the same fucking time, we said, "Together, Wendy." At the same time we went to say that one lyric from Born to Run. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I'll love you with all the madness in my soul. And we just looked at each other, and we both had like tears in our eyes. Like we're getting our period. And I looked up at Paul. I go, "Why didn't he just stop writing?" But that was like 76. Like that's a decade and a half before Born to Run, and it's like the great Together, Wendy, I can live with the sadness. I love you with all the madness. It's like that's as good as humankind or humankind is what they call it. High up in Mongolia, like way at the top, they call it humankind. I call it humankind.
Isn't Human like an insurance company?
I don't know, I'm
Human.
fucking out of my mind.
It's a PPO.
It is.
You want to fucking? Let me tell you something. That's the MVP right there. Well, I gotta play. That's it. It sounds like knives cutting fucking flesh. You just said you weren't like that fucking familiar, and I'm yelling
I know.
at you.
I know.
I'm
Like,
yelling at you like
that's
you're a Supreme Court
that's
justice that voted
that
against
is
busing.
the thing. That is why I'm doing the
Before
podcast
busing.
because I want to.
It's
By
a
the end of
journey. Yeah, it's a
this,
great
I
journey.
will know everything
Yeah.
about the Rolling Stones, and that's what's exciting about it. Is that I'm becoming a fan every week of a new band.
I'm gonna play 1 second of different Keith Richards licks. Okay. Come on, it's insane. That was pretty fucking complicated for 1 second.
And then he just looks at Mick, and then Mick sticks his hands back, and he just. I'm
gonna play that again.
His rooster thing,
That was
or hen, I guess in this
that
case.
was fucking complicated for 1 second. Did you catch that shit?
Play it again.
All right. First of all, it's fucking perfect. Like
Oh, it sounds great.
the
Yeah.
hands of God, Maradona, the soccer. Like it's insane.
He didn't use his hands.
There's like a weird. No, I'm fucking bugging out. Let me put the goddamn thing away. I want to circle back to George Burns because something happened there comedically that we don't have a name for. I don't think. George Burns, up until that moment, fucking great job, Josh. It's a nice reference. You know, it's like something on steroids. But like, what is it called when it's like Kevin Meaney's "We Are the World" is the funniest thing in the world, and then it's like he's still doing that, and then it comes roaring back to fucking he's still doing it. It's the best funny thing, and it's not ironic. Like George Burns was the fucking me and Pete like almost fell down. You like kicked the shit out of us. Like George Burns, do you know what I mean? Like 2 years ago, it'd be like you can do better than that, punchline wise.
It just like popped in my head. It's just
But
like
does it make
it's just-
sense what I'm
you know.
trying to
I know what
explain?
you're saying, dude.
Like,
there's
it's-
sometimes
Like that's not funny
some-
anymore, and then it's like it's kind of weird. He's still talking about it, and then enough years go by where it's if he does this fucking bit tonight, it's the best bit. Like where it just becomes a made man of a bit.
I think you have that gap, right?
Trying to
where
name that.
Anybody inside that gap would have been funny, you know, but you went outside and we weren't ready for it, and it turned the corner one extra time.
But George Burns,
I know, that's why it's funny.
no one said George Burns' name in his own home.
Yeah, he's been dead 30 years.
Well-
or however long he's been dead, 20 years. Long time.
You know, he had a
30.
swastika. You know that weird ass wig he always wore?
Yeah.
That thing was like stuck to his head because he had a fucking like weird swastika thing on his head.
Did he really?
No, I just made that up.
Got drunk.
He was kind of drunk.
Give me a tattoo.
Well, what would that be called? Like when something's, you know what I mean? That We Are the World bit that Kevin
No, I
Meaney does,
don't.
where he just goes, Kevin Meaney,
I know Kevin Meaney, yeah.
and he just plays We Are the World, and he lip syncs to it, and he acts out every single person as they're singing.
Oh, wow.
Like he puts on glasses, and he does like this. His movements are so fucking perfect. Like his Ray Charles, his Springsteen, his Dylan. He does Kim Carnes. He does like his Michael Jackson. He just does a weird thing with his fingers that's like perfect, creepy, but nobody would ever think to do it.
Does he do Dan Aykroyd?
Yes.
Oh, that's so
yes,
great.
he fucking does. He's standing in the background, just rocking back and forth with like Elmer Fudd glasses on.
How did Dan Aykroyd end up in We Are the World? That
Hey.
it just seems.
Whatever Dan Aykroyd wants.
I mean, at that
Straight
time,
up.
he was
He's a
like,
brawler, too.
the
It's
fucking,
like Cool in the Gang being in on the British one. You know, the Do They Know It's Christmas Time at all? They happen to be in town. They're like, fuck it, we'll show up.
Maybe they were popular, right? And they
Yeah,
were,
But they were in London.
Yeah, I mean, but they're still cool in the
They
gang.
don't tour.
Well,
I'm with you.
I'm just,
Yeah, it's like
well,
they're
you look
still
around
cool in the gang.
You got
That's weirder to you than fucking
George Michael, you know,
Michael
not George
Bloomberg?
Burns,
Oh,
but
Paul
all
Simon,
those
whatever.
guys. Your boy George Michael, Bono, all these different people.
One
It's
side of
British.
that room is just fucking gamey.
and then they got
George
Cool in the
Michael and
Gang.
Boy George in one room. And respect to Mr. George Michael, sir. One of the greatest catalogs of all time.
Yeah.
Tip of brew, but the niggas ain't here.
Yeah,
So, Bono and what's the name of the song?
do they know it's Christmas time at all?
Because tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
It's
You just sang at the top of
time.
your lungs, thank God they're starving. Nobody caught that? Because tonight, thank God it's them instead of you.
Yeah.
And the boy George, oh. He just said, thank God it's them. It's like Quincy fucking Jones didn't flag it?
Did Quincy Jones have anything to do with the Christmas song?
No, I just
No, that was Bob Geldof.
I just made it
That was
up.
Bob Geldof.
Quincy Jones on the other one. You're right. I made another mistake.
Yeah, I know that.
I swear to God, I'm going to kiss you right in your mouth.
Where are my chicken tenders at?
They're right there, but she brought shrimp up. It's a common mistake. We asked for chicken fingers, and the waitress brought up prawns. I'm not kidding. So when you go to the shoe store, can I have these black in a 12? I got brown in a 10. You're a fucking genius, buddy.
Here's some flip-flops.
Here's some prawns. There's fucking breaded shrimp or whatever you want.
Is it really?
Why do you think I'm lying every time I talk? So what would that be called when like something's not? It's so funny. Hold on, for the listener, Josh Adam Myers. I don't know if he's like maybe had a couple of cocktails or something. He just rolled the rolling chair into the other office, and then he looks at Corey and goes, "What is this shrimp?
Meat on a stick.
What is this shrimp?" I had like a little shrimp.
This was the guy that wanted to get Brussels sprouts before we started.
Yeah, so he looks good naked. We've covered a lot of ground. We got Boz Scaggs, George Harrison as Josh Adam Meyer is really going to bat, saying George Harrison is the weak link and the worst Beatle. Or me.
You said that.
But no, I thought you said I'm all right, Spider. Boz Scaggs loaned me a dime I got to listen to. Louis Gossett Jr., I just respect the pull. Made me think of Iron Eagle.
And Iron Eagle 3.
John Freese, the musician you mentioned, I swear that's like a third baseman in two different Cardinals World Series teams. Isn't there like a John Freese on the Cardinals every year?
Oh,
on the Dodgers, too.
David Freese.
He was Josh Freese.
And you had something. It was Josh Freese? Like, yeah, I even fucking read it wrong. You said something earlier about somebody having all the songs or something, and it made me think of Norm Macdonald's sketch that didn't get on the air called Name 2. It was a game show. But I'm trying to remember who you were talking about. What was that person? Maybe it's the band that sounds like Zeppelin, the Gretchen Von.
Greta Van Fleet.
Sure. Norm Macdonald, the best sketch that never got on air. This is not a segue whatsoever. Segues are fucking jerks. This is something he wrote. It got to the table read, and we all were fucking nuts. And when it wasn't on the air, it's it got quiet. It was weird. And he goes, it's a game show called Name 2, and he goes, all right, Pete, Pete lives from the Bay Area, and now he's in Orange, California, playing against Josh Adam Myers. All right, who's going first here?
I'll go first.
All right, Pete. Steve Allen is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having written over 3,000 songs. For the Cadillac, name 2.
Not a chance.
That was the whole sketch. It's like weird-ass examples, name 2. And I just fucking lost my mind. I probably maybe shouldn't have rolled out one of the greatest stories of all time. Let me tell you guys something, okay? You wonder why I eat. I got you out of fucking talking bad about Black Sabbath, and now you're gonna straight face my fucking Norm Macdonald jokes retelling.
I'm just like just in shock that you could do such a great Norm Macdonald.
Is that what I'm feeling? You in shock? Feels like I'm fucking no. It did get oddly quiet here. Were you guys like spooked out?
No, I
thought there was more coming.
I mean, I just
Name two.
And I couldn't.
No, that's the joke.
That's the joke.
That's the joke. But the fact
I
that
was trying to play straight.
the fact that Norm
I didn't see
try
the
to
skit.
come up with another question for that game show. You can't. I've spent 26 fucking years trying to come up with a fake thing where I could actually add to that sketch.
Yeah.
I only remember that one example. Steve Allen.
Yeah.
Like, how? I don't. Oh, Ringo Starr is what it was. Ringo Starr leads all Beatles with the most top 10 hits. Josh Adam Myers for $5,000. Name two. That was the whole. Fucking Make a noise, you
What was
pricks.
the song? What was the song?
You're going to add laughter in here, right?
What is this? I'm trying to think of the song. That's why. What is the one? He's like,
What is Octopus's Garden?
If there's certain, it's all right. Doesn't he have a song like that? It's all right.
Ringo?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know any of his solo stuff.
Old Brown Shoe. Octopus's Garden.
Yeah, Octopus's Garden.
He's got a song called Old Brown Shoe.
There's George Harrison for you.
You said old brown shoe. Nice. You said old brown shoe. Like a freshman hanging out with seniors, and it just was like, I don't know, like you made it up. Brown shoe.
There's a song called Old Brown Shoe, right?
Just the read cracked me up. I would listen to Boz Skaggs now. And Pete, your podcast, let's do it again.
Yeah.
You had me on your 100th episode. No.
And you got to do an album fight with us.
I would love to.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that's what we started talking about before three fucking guys that are jacked out to see each other.
Yeah.
Lights out. So the album fight that I tapped out on, it was Jane's Addiction, Nothing Shocking. What's Octopus?
Yellow Submarine.
Against Yellow Submarine. And Yellow Submarine, fucking unanimous decision. I'm like, no, it's half of the album is George Martin's fucking jacking off into a machine. It's not even a studio album.
What's on Nothing Shocking?
Coming down the mountain, one of many children.
The whole concept evolved after that point.
Hey, don't
by
listen
the
to
way,
the answer. You probably won't learn any songs.
the idea evolved after that, and we had 3 judges instead of a community. You know, it's a whole system now, and it's similar tracked albums, and so it works a little different now, and it's a little more.
James Gang lost to who was it? That was the first time I go, I'm fucking out of here. You guys know what the fuck.
Well, the idea has to evolve into what it is, though. You know, it starts.
Yeah, but
somewhere.
you can't go Rio Duran Duran. We're full circle now, gentlemen. You're welcome. Rio by Duran Duran. You attract the track with Too Fast for Love.
But we did.
Yeah, you and fucking Brad.
No,
And somebody-
we had a musician, we had a number of people, and we have CompuBox judges who kind of keep us in check.
Which
That's
song's
great.
better?
You have to go through. You have to listen to the episode.
I'll fucking do it right now.
All right.
I'm the guy that almost came up with the album to top Purple Rain, didn't I?
Yeah,
It was fucking
mentioned-
close.
yeah.
By the
I
way,
mean-
the tracks have to match. If it's a 9-track
You
album,
gotta find a
it's gotta be
9-track. Okay,
album.
that's great.
So Purple Rain's 9.
Yeah, 9. Yeah.
And Pete goes, I was in Hawaii, I remember.
Yeah.
And Pete goes, it's hard to find a 9-track album. Fucking son of a bitch was right. I was sitting on the toilet stumped for like an hour and a half going, I think I looked at this one already. And then it was Led Zeppelin 2.
Yeah.
Whoa, bro.
It's tough.
It could go either way. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it for sure. And the thing about like these album fights, when you look at the album structure, you know, there's weeks because they never planned to have their album put up against another album. So there's songs 6 through 8, usually like kind of out of ideas compared to like, you know, the good songs.
Sure.
And Purple Rain just doesn't have that. Plus, Purple Rain has this big scary monster at the end of it. It's Purple Rain, the song, and it's just a motherfucker to beat.
It is. It's impossible that it's that hard to chord. And it's on my number, you know, that list also of like slow songs that melt your face.
Yeah.
Like the hardest fucking slow, like that's the one.
Yeah, it's
Fame's up there. Are You Experienced? Pretty slow. But nothing touches Purple Rain.
and it has that great story. You know the story about the Super Bowl and Prince. I think I told you that story.
Do you know this?
No, I don't.
He was going to play the Super Bowl halftime show in Miami, and it was pouring rain because it's Florida. And the producers, of course, are freaking out because the halftime show has got this little tiny man wearing high heels playing music on a stage. And so they call him up ahead of time, and they're like, hey, Prince, it's really raining outside. Yes, it is. It's really raining really hard. Is everything going to be okay? He's like, yes, everything's going to be fine. Like, is there anything we can do to help you to make sure? He's like, can you make it rain harder?
Oof.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll wear my slip-resistant heels.
Think about how great that was. Was that the Colts one?
I can't remember which one
It
it
was
is
a sloppy
now.
one.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was Peyton Manning.
It was a mess, and he went out there high heels, full show, and everything, and he played because it's purple rain, and he's like,
And
just
you know he wasn't joking.
he was not joking.
Can you make it
Dead
fucking pour in here?
Yeah,
Because if there's a typhoon, goddamn tsunami, I'll just ride out.
just turn the purple lights on.
Yeah.
It's good.
That's awesome.
But that performance as it was, it was behind the curtain, his shadow,
Right,
and it looked like
yeah.
his cock. The guitar looked like a dick.
Yeah,
That was fucking crazy.
yeah.
Is he the most? Prince is on the very short list of the actual most underrated musician of all time. My number one would be, I'm going to put James Brown because he is the genre. Like, there's no one else. It's James Brown. Roy
He's
Orbison,
more
though,
performer than musician, though, right?
it's his band, though. Ask Bootsy, man. He's
Oh, yeah,
fucking
no, I
tight.
mean, he'll turn it
But
up fine.
Roy Orbison, though.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize how fucking. He's the first guy. I mean, crying. He was the first guy to ever write a song where the guys are fucking crying.
Yeah.
The guys are all tough guys. The guy's got a prescription windshield in his
Yeah,
car.
I
It's
mean,
like a
it's
fucking
just
1 foot.
well,
lens and glasses.
I only knew Pretty Woman, older version, like that was when
If
Roy
Van
Orbison
Halen's
came.
covering it. It's worth your time.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like when that movie came out and that song became popular again.
Yeah.
That was how I experienced Roy Orbison. And it's always seemed like he had 1 foot in the grave, and was just this old decrepit guy, with
But
like
what says who? Oh, wait, he was older then. Yeah.
he was older then. So I never saw him when he was younger. So that's what I'm saying. I don't really know a lot of his music.
but the difference between Prince and Roy and especially James Brown is that
one's white,
well,
one's
and
kind of black, and one's the blackest.
when top level bass players are like, I can't touch what Prince can do on the bass, and when top level drummers are saying, I can't do what Prince does on the drums,
Oh, he's right.
Did he play everything?
Guitar.
He plays
Oh, yeah.
everything. The only reason why he has a band is because he can't do it all himself on the
Sure,
stage.
yeah.
My friend Milton directed something Prince did. I don't think he did it unplugged, but it was something like that. And he had a chick drummer that was fine. Remember that sister?
Yeah.
Lenny
Yeah.
Kravitz had one too that was fucking hot.
They're smart.
And yeah, you're goddamn right. So in rehearsal, they were doing some fucking tune off like a Wendy and Lisa track, some weird ass track.
Yeah.
And Prince goes, "Get up, get up, get up!" And he finished the song in rehearsal on the drums to show her how to do it. I forgot about that. But you know what's funny? When Bootsy Collins was on the podcast, More Stories, we were talking about Prince and him and his, I think it was like his uncle. Like Bootsy's kind of old and the uncle was ancient, but
Yeah.
they were just the best. And I go, yeah, and Prince plays guitar like as well as Hendrix. Both of them go, watch it now. Same cadence, like, hey, like stop with that, like so.
I always remember when I really figured out how great he was at guitar was when they did the George Harrison
That's
tribute
right.
at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
And
they just
cleared out.
cleared the space and he just shredded for like 4 minutes,
Yeah.
and then threw his guitar in the air and just walked away.
I mean, a band led by Tom Perry willingly vamped so that he could just lay down those notes, and it's incredible.
Who?
What's that?
Tom Petty?
Tom Petty
Oh,
was
he's
leading
Tom-
this
he's
all-star
Tom
band,
Petty.
right?
Richard Petty.
Yeah, Richard Petty.
Kyle Petty.
Kyle
Petty.
Petty had his jacket on.
Matchbox car.
And Dale Earnhardt came out and he played the engine.
Roy Orbison, James Brown, Prince. Those are the three I put on the board.
But you got to say
yeah,
Mozart because that guy was the master. And I know it's old and everything,
Really?
but yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, look,
What do you know about you? Fucking foolish. Still fucking floss with me.
I'm just going to tell you right now. So, as a little
United
kid,
States
he was
spy.
able to tour all over Europe to the heads of state. They gave him prizes and money. He could play. As a little kid.
I'm not mocking you at all.
Yeah.
Just something about prizes and money. To a
Well,
little
because
kid
that's
is
what they
great.
paid people back then. The king's like, here's
He
prize,
traveled all over
here's
Europe. So
money.
he's underrated. So what? His name rate a horse.
He was like a 6-year-old kid out there playing.
Yeah,
And then
get him out of the fucking house. Get your nose out of the books.
could pick up and play a violin. Like adults around him were like, "You can't play that thing." He really
call that
never played it.
autism,
And then all of a
Pete.
sudden, he can play it. He had this preternatural.
Dude, I would love to
ability.
see Mozart live.
Yeah.
I would love. Like, people always like, who do you want to see? If you could see anybody
Bob Classy Lady
in
tonight?
like in the history of time, who would you want to see
Yeah.
live? I was like, dude, Beethoven. I'd
Yeah.
love to see Beethoven.
Beethoven,
Dude,
really?
Beethoven. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because you imagine, like, just like I always thought about how dope that would be to be like, dude, I got Beethoven tickets, dude.
Yes.
By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. My really was based on how have I never thought of this before. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've had this, it's like the Zoo TV tour by U2. I'm like, how did I miss that? Born in the USA. My sister saw him in Paris. I saw Springsteen in Paris in '84. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Dude, my
Zeppelin came over.
great uncle
Yes.
saw Mozart.
Right. He can shred.
My great uncle always said how mad he was that he missed Bach.
Right.
I believed you far too long into that. At the end of that period, I'm like, wait.
And Bach is another one, because when you got Eddie Van Halen doing Eruption and he's doing like Bach stuff, it's straight from like Bach's songbook. That says something about his musicianship.
Let's not go. I don't want to go in the weeds too big with the classical.
It's Bach. It's not the weeds.
They're incredibly valid points.
Okay.
But if he's not hip to this, can we all knock shit over now? If
I'm
he's
gonna
not hip
drop my
to the
phone.
Rolling Stones, I don't know how we're gonna get with fucking Wolfgang.
I just want to say this about Beethoven. There's a thing called the pianoforte
Wanna
that
look
came
that song?
before the piano.
Oh,
He
all right,
wrote-
start over because I'm breaking chops.
He played the pianoforte, and he played it so aggressively he would break the thing. And he also wrote music for keys that didn't exist yet, but he knew would come at some point. That's a musical genius.
Who's that? Bach?
Beethoven.
Sebastian.
Beethoven. Yes.
That's a big motherfucker. He's like
You're
6'8",
my
dude.
girl tonight. So say he would put his hands on the.
Yeah, he could play the piano. Like, it wouldn't last long because they just weren't made out of metal like they were.
What did you call that piano?
The pianoforte.
Okay.
And then the next one was like the more the
And he would
full-on
bang it
piano.
real hard.
Yeah, just bang. He could outplay the instrument, and then he also wrote music for keys that didn't exist yet. Like if they weren't 88 keys, and so he's
I
like,
didn't know that at all. I just
yeah. So he wrote music for the future that didn't like this. A piano's going to get longer and
Will
have
Rogers,
these things.
Future guy.
Exactly.
That's fucking. I can't even fathom how amazing what you're saying is.
I mean, these guys. They don't just see the the notes that are there. It's like
Right.
it's like classical music. I mean, can you imagine? Like I listen to Beethoven's Ninth all the time, and there's so much shit going
I know you
on
did coke.
that
It's
you're just like blown away that somebody could even put this down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's brilliant.
Thank you
Brilliant
for-
music.
Mozart wrote the music in his head, and he just copied it out.
Doesn't
That's
everybody?
fucking
Hold
dope.
on,
The entire
that's very
thing.
interesting to me because doesn't everybody though? That's
No,
my
I
knee-jerk
mean-
I'm sure I'm wrong, but my knee-jerk response was everybody writes the song in their head,
A complete work, every note, every instrument.
as opposed to playing an instrument once he thinks of it in his head.
Right. So the whole thing is there, and he's just like, and then the piccolo goes like this, and then the bass drum does this, and he just writes out the
he's
music.
writing by ear,
Right.
as he's thinking by ear.
Right, but it's already in his head. He composes it in his head, and then he just later on, when it's all done,
I want to go to this concert with you. Who was it? Mozart? Who are we going to see?
I'd go. There's a big festival coming.
Let's
It's
not
gonna be
fuck around.
Mozart, Bach.
But who's the guy? Out of those four, I guess it's the five, really.
yeah. I mean, there's more than that, but yeah, I think it's Mozart.
Not Beethoven.
mean,
I think I agree with you, though.
I mean, it could be Beethoven easily.
I mean,
He's
but also
incredible.
Beethoven
How about
was
the three of us have no
deaf.
fucking idea what we're talking about anyway.
There's people tuned out once
We're
we
wearing
said
t-shirts.
Bach.
We're wearing t-shirts with skeletons on them, like we know shit.
And I'm waiting for my chicken.
Unless, but
nuggets.
there's probably some like real fans and more stories that are like, wait, God, finally talking about Bach.
Finally.
We're finally
waiting for
the
5
big
years.
Bach discussion.
You know Sebastian Bach, you know, fucking gorgeous dude. That chick's hot. That's a hot lady, straight up. I'm on SNL. I'm at a bar with like an actual like penthouse pet set. Like it was disgusting. And Sebastian Bach's there, and he goes, "Hey man, you're from Jersey, right?" I go, "You know it." And he goes, "Your girl and my girl tonight." And he flips his hair. We gotta get out of here soon. And I go, "What man?" And it's a bar. It was Third Avenue bar, and he goes, "Your girl and my girl tonight." And I look over his shoulder. There's a 9-month pregnant woman at the bar holding a Perrier, and she gives me a little toast like, "Hi." And I go, "We're good." And to this day, how the fuck did I not have sex with a 9-month pregnant rock and roll wife?
I mean, that's a
'Cause I don't wanna
story at a
give
dinner
this-
party
don't
if
wanna
I
give-
ever heard
I don't want
one.
to give this thing up. Like I give a like, what do I care? I'm 22 years old. I'm on Saturday Night Live. Like, hey, you gotta fuck Sebastian Bach. I should have helped him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's the great.
I did a 9. What are the? No, who says, "Hey, you want to have sex with my 9-month"?
But not like that. He didn't just say, "Hey, you want to have sex?" Yeah, he goes,
performed it.
"We're fucking tonight." What? That's fucking dope, dude.
You send me the next 20 albums.
Okay.
Text, you know.
Okay.
Did you do? Who did Hole live through this with you?
Jessie Mae Peluso.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
my fucking. I got a problem with her.
Yeah, you love her.
I got I would stalk her.
You chubbing up?
No, it's deeper than that. 'Cause I know she's talking to me.
Oh, it's in your butt.
I will possess your heart.
You know what you can do is go up to her and go, "How about we party tonight?" I can't even hit that note anymore.
I heard you smoke weed tonight.
Tonight. I can't even do that
She's
anymore.
fucking great. I
Great
have no
comic,
idea.
love her to death.
I haven't seen her do comedy. I saw her walk into the back room of a comedy store once. She was dressed like a fly girl from like Living Color. Remember that?
She got like a hip
She
hop
was
flair
wearing
to her.
sunglasses. She had a fucking rope chain on that was real, like
Yeah.
EPMD. Housing.
Damn.
And she comes in and does like an actual like b-boy pose. She starts asking questions to the other chicks. The girls.
Well,
fucking
I think
really
you've got. I
ostracizing
think
her
you've
now.
got. I think you've got. I know what you're talking about. I remember that moment. I think you're talking about. I think you're talking about. I think you're talking about it. You're talking about Annie Letterman, because that sounds like an Annie Letterman outfit.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know who it is. We had a fucking conversation about it. She said she's tougher than the rest because we just did the Springsteen thing. We're talking about her. I started following her on Instagram. Every Wednesday she gets high, and she keeps putting like unicorn.
Okay, no, that's
heads
Jessie Mae.
on her head, but she's in like a fucking stream in Valley Forge or something in this hot ass bikini. She got a fucking ass on her that needs to be fucking adored. But listen,
Yeah.
I hear she's really funny. But what the fuck? Like she can't like say hi.
Do the Sebastian Bach on her, bro.
It was Harold Letterman, the boxing announcer. Okay, Jim, I got the fight. All right, Pete Turner's They Break It Down show.
That's right, Break It
and
Down
that's
show.
app. You guys know where you get fucking podcast. And I don't know the name of your podcast.
It's
guys.
the 500 with Josh Adam Myers. It's a Spotify original.
How
Listen
am I
to it on
supposed to remember that
Spotify.
title?
I mean,
Wait,
it's
why
not
are you
that
getting
hard.
Spotify? This is very holy shit. You talked
So
about.
I sold the show to Spotify. So they pay me
Bro,
now to
you
make the
talked
show.
About this when I was on, that may be happening.
Yeah, it's
Good
we've
for
been
you.
working with
Josh,
them since
open
July.
with that
Yeah,
next time. We wouldn't be talking about Bach.
you know, I don't know. It's just it
Brother,
didn't
man.
really come up, but it's great. I love working with
Can I get it
Spotify.
right now on Spotify?
Yeah, of course. It's on all platforms, but it's a Spotify
that's where you go.
original,
That's how you support
and Spotify is a fantastic app, man. It's like they really are doing it right, and I love working with them.
You didn't land on Plymouth
Listen,
Rock.
Colin Quinn, I
I
don't.
can't stop. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I'm tired.
Like, this is my Colin. How you doing?
That's
I'm
not very
Colin
good,
Quinn.
but it's probably better than mine.
I can do one
That's
voice and one voice only. I can do the pitching coach from the movie Major League.
Okay, let's hear it.
Dorn, give him the heater.
That's the actual manager, though.
I'm the manager.
Yeah.
I got downgraded. They almost fired me.
Pete Turner is a fucking G. You're Paul Blair out
He's
there,
great.
man.
Well,
Doing it.
Roy
Killing
White
it.
hitting that ball. I love you, Petey Turner. I'm so glad we got to break bread. We'll do it again real soon.
Yes.
We'll be a little more structured. This was just three guys after a great show having a great
I love
fucking
it.
time.
This is so much
together.
fun.
I fucking love you two dudes. Petey, I love you, brother.
I love it. I
Anytime,
love
any
you.
place. If can, if no can, no can.
Yes.
But if can. All right, folks. You can make it if you try. Go be nice to each other. Put your fucking name on it. Effort greater than result.